wait for Melanie to come on. Perfect. All right, so good morning, everyone. I'm Laura Lane with the Livingston County Chamber of Commerce, and I want to welcome you this morning to our program on managing your online presence and online reputation. We are excited to bring Melanie McGovern and Lauren Kirchmer from the Better Business Bureau to present this morning. And we also are excited to welcome you to our online learning center, which provides the opportunity for learning out of convenience. You don't have to leave your house. We're moving away from the concept of having to meet virtually because of a pandemic to having to meet virtually because it's convenient. And this will be very convenient come Western New York winters when we don't have to navigate the snows. And unfortunately, April 23rd, I did have to navigate snow on my way in this morning. So welcome. We are in present mode right now. So in just a minute, I will be turning the program over to Melanie and Lauren. Just to give folks in the room a little bit of a lay of the land, you have the ability to use the general chat along the right-hand side, as well as the Q&A. So if questions come up during the presentation, just please feel free to pop your questions in there. If you see a question that comes up and you also have that question, you're given the opportunity to vote that up and move it up in the ranking of questions that everybody has, so that Melanie and Lauren can address those right within the context of the presentation. And then afterwards, we will come out and go back into the main floor plan, where we're here today until about 10 o'clock. So any of the time that remains after the presentation, if you have one-on-one conversations that you'd like to have with Melanie or Lauren, they will be set up along the outside perimeters at the two top tables, and you can pop in and have a private conversation with them. So with that, I'm going to turn the program over to Melanie.
Thank you, Laura. So a little bit of background, the Livingston County Chamber is what we call a BBB community partner. So they work with us to bring BBB information to the membership base. So we're really excited. I think you guys have been partners for 3 years now, which is really exciting. So we're excited to be part of this community and to teach everybody what we know. Lauren's with me. Lauren, I don't know if you want to quick introduce yourself. Want to go to this slide of our pre-pandemic headshots?
Sure. Oh, I just clicked a button I didn't mean to press. Sorry, everybody.
There we go.
I'm the Marketing and Outreach Coordinator at Better Business Bureau. So today I'll be telling you a little bit more about what I do with the social media side of our online reputation management with BBB, and ways that you can tailor that to your business or nonprofit.
Awesome. We're very, very excited to have Lauren with us, because in the, what are you coming up on 3 years now this year?
Mhm.
Our social media numbers have just absolutely gone through the roof. We have so much more engagement. We just launched a new group for our accredited businesses so they can talk to each other. They can get more BBB information. So there's a lot of good stuff that's going to be coming up. I'm not going to give it all away. But today we're going to talk about online reputation management, because 93% of consumers use the internet in 2020 to find local businesses. 34% were searching every day. So when people were at home, they were on their phones trying to find local businesses that were either open or could perform a task for them or had a product or service they needed. They were searching every day for that. Which means, a positive online reputation helps customers trust your business. It can convert searches into leads and can help boost you in local searches. So we're going to kind of go through all that stuff today. General overview, not a total deep dive, but if you do have more specific questions, like Laura said, we'll be available to answer those as we go along. So I'm just going to give you a brief overview of what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the Better Business Bureau, who we are, what we do. We're going to talk a lot about BBB standards of trust and how they all relate to online reputation management. I'm going to go through the basics, as you can see right there, just a couple of things that you need to make sure that you're doing so your online presence is there and people can find you. Lauren and I are going to talk a lot about customer reviews, because that is one of the biggest ways that people are looking for your business. They're looking for what people are saying about you, what their interaction was with you, and how that all went down. Lauren's going to go through social media. She's not going to go through each platform, what it is and what it does, but she's going to talk about content and the ideas or the importance of social presence and why that's important, in addition to your website, your Google, your BBB profile, and things like that. So we are the BBB of Upstate New York. We are in Buffalo. based, but we cover all 48 counties of upstate. There's a BBB in New York City, and the gray area is what they service. This is our website, bbb.org. Every BBB has their own pages. So when you go to the BBB's website, you will get, if you click on the My BBB, it'll say your town where you are, and then you can start searching for providers there. So people want to look for businesses, they want to file a complaint, or they want to start a review. So that's why our homepage is set up that way. So it's easy to navigate. It's easy for people to find what they need. Lauren, I'm going to toss to you to talk about some of the other services that we provide.
Sure. There's a lot that we do for our community, not just for helping you look up businesses and charities. So the first is advertising review. If there's an advertisement that has false claims, for example, then we have a department that looks at those advertisements, and then we'll reach out to those businesses and explain why their ad is advertising something that's false, and letting them know ways that they can continue doing that in a better sense in the future. Scam tracker, if you go to bbb.org/scam tracker, it'll pull up to that webpage that you see in the screenshot on the screen. It's an interactive map that will let you know all the scams that are happening in your area. You can search it by your zip code, you can search by date, type of scam, and then search it based on that criteria. And then you can learn more about the scam, what happened, how much money might have been lost, and ways that you can then prevent yourself from falling for a scam. We encourage you, whether you lose money or not, to still report a scam, and you can do that by clicking on the red button. We also have a team that does investigations. So if there's anything that comes up about a business that we would need to look into, we have team members for that. We have a charity review program. So just as we have information about businesses, we have information on charities and nonprofits. So you can go to give.org to look at those. And we have a dispute resolution service. So if there's any issues that come up between a consumer and a business and they can't come to a resolution on their own, we have someone that can come in and help work as the neutral third party and try and find a resolution for those individuals.
So BBB is based on 8 standards of trust, and we're going to go through a lot of these today when we talk about building your online reputation and maintaining it. So number 1 is build trust. Number 2, advertise honestly. Like Lauren said, we do have somebody who looks into advertising to make sure that people say if they're number 1 in the region, well, how can you prove that? So you can't make these inflammatory advertising claims. Tell the truth, obviously. Be transparent. You'll hear us talk a lot about responding. And that's number 6, be responsive, but be transparent as well with all of your policies, procedures, and practices. Honor your promises. So if you tell a customer you're going to do XYZ, you better do it. Number 6, be responsive. We're going to probably talk about that one the most. Safeguard privacy, which is huge. We just had a really great cybersecurity presentation yesterday that's available on our website at bbb.org under the webinar series. Just talking about all the ways that malware can just destroy a company, destroy your computer, and that we need to protect our phones just as much as we're protecting our laptops and our desktops. So if somebody's using your website, you need that privacy policy. You need to let your customers know, hey, we're not going to sell your information. And of course, embody integrity. So those are BBB's 8 standards of trust. We're going to talk about those a lot as we go through the presentation today. Again, trust, honesty, responsiveness. That's what people want to see from any business that they do business with. So this real quick is a BBB business profile. There's a lot of information you can put on your profile. It's like a little mini website for a company. If you are BBB accredited, you can add photos, you can add your logo, you can add videos, you can add a lot of other things that if you're not accredited, you can't have. Definitely want to encourage everybody, either whether or not they're accredited, update your hours of operation and make sure your contact information is correct. And we'll get to a little bit more of that later. So the BBB business profile is indexed by Google. So if you do have old information or a wrong phone number, people might not be able to find your business, or they might not be able to find that you're BBB accredited or that you have a letter grade with us. So it's really important to make sure that your BBB profile is updated. Again, it's like a mini website. It's something that you can customize. every day you can go in and log in and change stuff on your BBB profile. We don't really recommend that because then it tends to get re-indexed by Google and it's a whole process. But if you do have different hours because of the pandemic, if you have safety protocols that you want to talk about, you can put those on your BBB business profile. So if it's, I know it's a lot to look at, but if you go to bbb.org, you can see examples of profiles there. The first thing we want to talk about is, you want to look up your business. You want to throw your business name into all the search engines and see what comes up. So if you type in your business name in Google, you definitely don't want to see negative reviews or people can't find your website. You want to see the positives. Yep, you want to make sure that you're going to see something like this. This is great. I love this product, 5 stars. You don't want to see this. You don't want it to be a surprise when somebody's saying things about your business. So you want to make sure you're on top of this at all times. Google My Business page is probably one of the top 3 things in addition to your website and your BBB business profile that you want to make sure that is updated and that people know it's there. So you want to make sure you have an account. You want to claim your listing if you do. They're going to mail you a postcard, which is great because it's probably the most secure way to confirm that you are who you are so that somebody can't hack in and take your business profile. Again, I'm going to keep stressing this. You have to make sure your contact information is correct. Are the links to your website accurate? Are your hours of operation accurate? What's great about Google is once you're in this program, they're going to send you emails, especially around the holidays, asking you, hey, there's a holiday coming up. Are your hours the same as they would be on a regular business day? I travel. I used to travel a lot. I'm hoping to get back to the travel aspect of my job, which I love. Put a photo of your building or signage. So that's the sign that's out in front of our building. Our building is set back off the street. So that's the first thing people see. That's why we put that sign there. So if somebody is coming to our business, they can see where we are. I travel to a lot of small towns in upstate New York that have those beautiful picturesque main streets. And when I'm looking for a chamber, sometimes I can't find it because there's not a good signage. So I will sit in my car and look up on my phone. Okay, it's that building with the red brick facade and the black door. So it's really helpful to make sure you have a picture of your building or your logo so people know where you are. And you can share updates here like any other social media. So Lauren did a really great job of like promoting stuff that we were doing during the pandemic on our BBB Google My Business page so people knew that, hey, we're open. We might not be in the office. Well, I'm in the office today, but some of us are still not working in the office and that we're here and that we're working. So it's really important to make sure you get all of that messaging out there.
It's also free for you to use.
Yes.
It's a free advantage for you, something, and like Melanie said, Google's the first place people are going to go for a search. So if they search your business on Google, you want that profile to be a good representation of who you are and what you do. With those posts as well, you're able to share event posts. So you can have a link for people to register right there with the post. There's a button that says register here or learn more, and you can link it to wherever you want them to go. So it's another great way to get some link clicks on information that you want people to see right away about your business.
Absolutely. Now we're going to talk about your website. A lot of people have websites and they get it all set up. It looks awesome. And then they just leave it there. Or they have somebody managing it and they're not really sure what's going on with it. So are you managing it yourself? Is a team member doing it? Do you have a third-party company doing it? What we found during the pandemic is a lot of businesses or entrepreneurs took back the managing of their website. They took it away from a third party because they had so many updates. They just wanted to keep doing it themselves. So there's just a couple of questions with your website that you want to ask yourself. What are you looking to get out of it? Do you want online shopping? Are you looking to cultivate leads? Is it just because you have to have a presence on the web? So you want to make sure that you are getting what you need out of your website. If it's just a one-page website that you can scroll through in two scrolls, that's great. If you have e-commerce, is it easy to get to? Is the shopping cart accessible? Is the user experience good? So those are the things you want to think about when you're putting your website together. I build web pages, Lauren builds web pages, and we're constantly like sending them to each other. Like, what do you think of this? Look at this on your phone. Make sure that this works. If it's something that we want people to look at, do they know what they're looking at? So you want to make sure that you get everything you want out of your website. You want to know who your target audience is. and how they're going to interact with it. Is it fulfilling their needs? Most people will go to a website, and if they can't find what they need, they're going to bounce. They're going to leave. They're not going to hang around. They're not going to keep clicking through things. So when you are putting that website together, think about bbb.org. What we did was we asked people, when you go to bbb.org, what are you looking for? And the first thing they said, we want to look up businesses. So if you go there, first thing you see is look up a business. The second thing was to file a complaint. So the complaint form is the second button you see. The third is to file a review. That's why we did that. So we wanted to make sure we knew what our target audience wanted and that we were giving it to them right on that front homepage. And then you want to make sure that your website has goals and metrics. You want to make sure that you are looking at your Google Analytics, which is also free, or any other analytical program to see what pages are getting visited the most. How long are people staying on your website? Once they're there, are they clicking around or are they just going to one page and leaving? Then from there, you can build on that. You can say, okay, I'm getting a lot of traffic to our online store, so I need to really update that page. Or I'm getting a lot of online traffic to the contact form. Is the contact form robust enough that people are going to fill it out? Or does it look like just a blank form that you don't know where it's going to go? So you want to make sure you have goals for your website, and you want to make sure you're checking on those analytics to make sure that if that you're achieving those goals. If your goal is online sales and nobody's visiting your online store, maybe move that to the homepage. There's a lot of things you can do with it. I see we have a question. Do you have any advice for a business that is rebranding by changing the name or logo? We're probably going to have to answer that one toward the end. I don't know, Lauren, do you have any thoughts on that?
You can do a fun launch if you have social media and do a campaign, say, check out our rebrand in 5 days, or 1 week from today, we're going to be
Oh,
launching a
yeah.
rebrand. So make it a thing and get people excited about the change and let them know that it's coming, so that when it does change over, they're not confused. So that could be just a fun way of getting people excited about it.
I love that idea. That's awesome. Yeah, we'll definitely think about that and get more back to you on that later. So back to your web presence. Online directories, whether or not you put it there, your information is out there. There are just spiders crawling the web looking for information and putting them on these online directories. So you want to know where your business is listed. Is it the yellow pages? Is it on, again, if you have a chamber membership, you want to make sure that your chamber or that your business is listed correctly on the chamber website. Again, make sure that information is updated. I've been working with a business in the central New York area that had 3 different places where his phone number was wrong. And he switched over to a new phone number and didn't change old directories. And we have a program called the BBB Help Center. So he is a BBB accredited business, and we pulled all these red flags, like your Yelp profile doesn't match your BBB profile, doesn't match your Facebook. And he's like, what do you mean? And I walked him through it. And I said, all I have to do is give me the right phone number and I'll put it on your BBB profile, because that's where we pull the data from. And then everything was fixed. So it's really important to make sure all of that information matches. Street address, if you have one, web address, phone number, hours of operation, things like that. So if you are part of membership organizations or you do have a listing on some of these websites, you want to make sure you're reconnecting with them and saying, hey, you know what, I have a new hours of operation, or I have a new phone number, or, we have texting now, things like that. So that's a great way to keep in touch with the membership organizations and for people to find you through those different avenues besides just going to Google or your website. Email marketing. I talk for hours.
No, it's other networks.
Oh, okay. Other networks. So in addition to what Lauren's going to talk about with social media, there are other networks where people are looking for referrals, and that you should have a very robust profile or updated information. One of them is Nextdoor, which is an app that is for neighborhoods. So I'm in my neighborhood group, and it's the 6 blocks around my house where these are neighbors talking to each other. Especially during the pandemic, I had to actually shut off the alerts because so many people were looking for recommendations for companies. They were looking for everything for my elderly mother needs a financial planner to I need a dog walker. And, majority home improvement type questions and home improvement businesses. And I'm sitting there reading these these. And of course, here's my BBB brain, and I'm going over to my laptop and I'm looking up some of these companies, and they're F-rated with us because they're not answering complaints. And I'm like, oh my goodness, like these businesses don't have profiles. So you really want to make sure that you have that Nextdoor listing. It is free. So if somebody mentions your business as a recommendation, it'll be tagged. So then they can click on that, like Matt's Tree Service, click on that, and then they'll see, here are your hours of operation, here's your phone number, and here's your address, and here's your website. So if you don't have a listing on Nextdoor, I would recommend going over there and getting one, because people are looking for recommendations for everything. And it's a great way for people to get referrals. Also, Facebook groups. So my neighborhood Facebook group is very similar to Nextdoor, and I see companies getting recommended all the time, and a lot of them are BBB accredited, which is fantastic. But you want to make sure that your Facebook page is updated. Lauren's going to talk more about social media, but that's just my takeaway with this: is make sure your Facebook page is updated, that you're posting, that again, hours of operation, phone number, website, contact forms, all are there, because if somebody's recommending you, you want to make sure you can harness that lead if it should come in. And now we'll talk about email marketing, but I promise I won't go long, because I'm a big fan of email marketing, and I can sit for hours in email marketing analytics and open rates and unsubscribes and all that stuff, and it's not dead. Email engagement actually increased during the pandemic, and open rates went up because a lot of people, again, were at home. They were looking at their emails. They were looking to do things with brands. They're engaging more. So there's 3 things to remember when you're sending an email to your customers or to potential customers. Is it the right content for the right audience at the right time? So you really want to make sure that you're not just sending email to send email. You want to make sure that you're sending that content to the right people when they need it. So if you're a restaurant and it's Thursday afternoon, it's a good time to probably send out your specials for the weekend, because that's when people start thinking about their plans. If there's some, like, I remember during the beginning of the pandemic, there was one national brand that I subscribed to that I swear to God, I don't think they knew what was going on. And they're sending out these emails, and I'm like, wow, that's really kind of tone deaf. So I ended up unsubscribing from it. But again, you want to make sure that whatever your message is, that it's the right content for the right audience at the right time. The number one reason people unsubscribe from email is too many emails. So you want to make sure. There are certain brands where I'll get an email from them and I'm like, oh, I haven't heard from them in a while. I'm totally going to open this. And then there's other brands where I'm like, oh my God, that's 4 emails today. To unsubscribe nowadays, I think people are less likely to do so. They're just probably going to delete you, but they're going to keep you around until they need you. So that's, like, I always say, I'm more worried about my unsubscribe rate than my open rate, because people aren't taking the time to go into their phones and say, unsubscribe, go here, type in my email. They want to hear from us when they want to hear from us. And we send out, oh boy, let me think, maybe 5 emails a month. And the third Thursday is our newsletter. And I always watch that. I watch for what content they're clicking on, how many people are opening, what they're reading. And then when I go to build the next email, I refer back to that to say, okay, this is what they're interested in. And as Laura and Lauren know, it's usually SBA information. So, we want to make sure we're keeping that content for that audience when they need it. I unsubscribe when it involves too much time in the engagement. Yeah, it's interesting. Or if I just see an email where I'm like, I don't think that's a good message, or just I'm so done with you, I will actually go and physically unsubscribe, but most of the time I just delete. So, I guess it's a matter of personal preference with the emails. But again, if you're sending out emails to your customers, make sure that you're doing it in a good way, so people aren't looking at it going, oh, I'm sick of this, unsubscribe, delete. And I'm going to toss it over to Lauren for to talk about customer reviews.
Customer reviews are so important, whether they're negative or positive for your business. The reason I say negative or positive is because people are going to be looking at how you're replying to that customer, especially on a negative review. For the positive ones, you want to make sure you still respond saying thank you, especially because they're taking their time out of their day to leave you some words of praise. And the reason why we believe that reviews are so important is going back to that standard of trust. And trust is key with reviews. I found this quote on HubSpot, and it says, "Who are you more likely to trust? A salesperson who will profit from your purchase, or a customer who has experience with the product you're considering and can give you an honest review?" Chances are you're going to be going to that person who's leaving that review, someone who's similar to you. They're the consumer, letting you know their consumer experience with it, versus someone who's just trying to get you to buy something from them. So the importance of customer reviews, why you need it. It boosts your brand recognition. It increases your search engine optimization, like Melanie was talking about earlier. It provides instant feedback to you, and it's direct communication with your clientele. Where do you want those reviews? You want them on Google, Yelp, Facebook, and of course your BBB business profile. Melanie, is there anything you want to add based on the slide?
No, it's really important because people will consult 10 different sources before making a decision. And if your company doesn't have customer reviews that are remotely current, a lot of times people will bypass that. So it's just really, really, really important to ask for and get those customer reviews.
Why
And I just
customer reviews?
I just previewed the whole slide.
It's okay. Customers read, like Melanie said, up to 10 reviews before they feel they can trust a business. So they're really doing their research before they decide who it is that they want to even see if they want to work with, to ask for that quote, or to go to that store and browse around before they make a purchase. 31% of consumers say they've read more reviews in 2020 because of COVID-19, and 34% read fewer. So people are still reading those reviews. It's important to them. And especially with the pandemic, people want to see how you're following COVID protocol. They're going to look for those current reviews to see if you're a construction business, for example, that when you go to your home to work on whatever home improvement project it is, that the client felt comfortable with you coming into their home and being there for a long extended period of time, that you treated their home with care. Or if you had to go to a restaurant, that you felt like you were far enough away from the other people sitting and eating their meals, making sure that you don't feel like they're breathing on your food or they're right behind you. Maybe you feel a little uncomfortable. So they're looking for those current reviews to see how the experience was in the current setting, because it's so different than a review that would have been posted even 2 years ago. And why do you need those BBB reviews? Consumers are most likely to look at Google My Business for local reviews, but they trust BBB the most. So when they go to BBB and they look at the reviews on your business profile, they're looking for that extra little boost of trust and confidence in your business. And 73% of consumers only pay attention to reviews written in the last month.
Yeah, it's really interesting. We only keep reviews on profiles for 3 years because especially with the pandemic, with turnover in companies, a bad experience 3 years ago, there could be a whole new crew now. So that's why we keep telling our BBB accredited businesses, you guys have to ask for reviews. You have to get those current reviews because it's really important. People want to know what happened within the last month. They don't care what happened 3 years ago. They want to know they came to my house, they cleaned up, they did a great job, they were super professional. And, with the BBB reviews, we verify them before they're published. We had a new accredited business who was so excited and sent out a bunch of texts. We have an app for our businesses to get reviews, sent out a bunch of texts, had a bunch of his customers file reviews. And he's like, why aren't my reviews published? And we're like, because we have to verify that they're true first. And the accredited business was thrilled. He's like, wow, that's great. If we go to our Google profile, we have people giving us 1-star review because they think they're filing a complaint against a company. So it's just really important. Again, those BBB reviews are verified so that it actually was a customer. So that's why people trust them more.
I was going to say that little disclaimer too. If you saw on our Google My Business slide that our review at that time was only like 3.6 or something, it's because people do come to us to put a negative review about a company, but unfortunately that's on our Google star rating. So if you were wondering why ours is so low and we're talking about the importance of reviews, if you look in those comments where they said those messages, we directed them to the link to file a complaint about that business. So we were still showing that we care about their review. We thank them for leaving a review and directed them to a different venue.
Yeah, and we can't take those down because they're not violating Google standards. They're not hate speech, they're not inflammatory, there's no vulgar language. So that's why, again, if you get one of those negative reviews that doesn't violate the standards, engage with them. Say, hey, I think you have the wrong information. Give me a call, something like that. This is really interesting. So where consumers go after they read reviews, they're going to go to your website. They're going to look for more reviews on other sources to validate their choice. So if they're thinking, I'm going to work with your company, but I just want to check you out a little more, they're going to keep looking for more reviews. They're going to visit your location. So again, like I was saying earlier, make sure that your storefront, your logo, your signs in front are there so people know they're the right spot. They're going to continue searching for other businesses just to make sure that they made that right decision. And then they're going to call you. So this is how it all works together. Everything we've talked about so far. And then, everything Lauren's going to talk about beyond that, it's going to be really interesting. You'll see how all of these things work together to help you build that online reputation.
Social media in your business. First, it's so important to be responsive. Answering a complaint on social media can actually increase customer advocacy by 25%. And all of the stats I'm going to give you in this social media segment were from a report based on all of 2020. So they were released in early 2021. So it's very current information. And 79% of consumers expect brands to respond within a day of reaching out over social media, but an average brand response rate across all industries is lower than 25%. So the customer expectation is not what the businesses are giving them. So if you can turn on alerts so that as soon as someone messages you, and you can reply as soon as you're available to. And as this information shows you, people want that response quickly, or else they're going to move on to the next person, and you just lost a possible consumer or possible client. You want to be able to target your audience, just like Melanie said for emails. You want to figure out who that target audience is, or even for your website, figure out where you can find them on social media. A millennial, for example, is probably going to be on Instagram or Facebook. If you're trying to target Gen Z, they're more likely to be on an app like TikTok. My dog is just waking up. I'm warning you in case he pops up. There he is. Good morning, sunshine. And if you're trying to target someone who's maybe Gen X, they might be on Facebook. So you want to figure out where it is that your consumers are, even survey them. Try and talk to them, figure out what apps they use, what social media sites that they use, and then go onto those sites so that you know that they're going to be looking for that information there. Advertise them appropriately for where you are communicating with them. So figure out how the messaging works on that app and what messaging works most for them. What are they paying attention to? And I'll give you some ideas down the line. Share visual posts as well. People aren't really looking just for that quick line of text or link that's shared for an article. They want to see you. They want to see pictures. They want it to be more personal than just a quick message up on your account. And update your stories and reels if those are something that are available on that app to you. Pretty much every app now has some sort of form of this. Twitter just launched fleets, so you can share a quick little story to your Twitter as well. So apps are constantly changing, so make sure you're keeping up with that. If you're not on social media, you might be wondering why I should be using this, or if you are and you're not updating it often, hopefully this kind of changes your view on that. With over 53% of the world's population on social media, it's critical your business has an effective social media strategy that helps you reach your intended audience. That's so many people that you can reach just by sharing a quick post to whatever your channel is. 54% of social browsers use social media to research products. So they're going there because they want to learn more about your products, the services that you have to offer before they give you a call or give you any of their money to purchase product. Each person spends an average of 2 hours and 25 minutes on social networks and messaging every day. So that's 2 hours and 25 minutes that you can get your brand to them on their phone, computer, tablet, whatever it is they're using. Social media content is shareable and serves as free public relations among your audiences. Think about it. If someone's not following your account, but one of your followers shares your content, then all of their followers are going to see that too. So it may get more people to recognize your brand or introduce it to them for the first time. And that was at no cost to you because social media is free. 3.6 billion people use social media globally, and 57% of consumers follow businesses because they want to learn about new products or services. I just got my dog back in February, and now I follow so many dog accounts, whether it's toys or cute little bandanas for holidays. And that's something that I have never interacted with many of these businesses before, but I started following them because I want to see what products they offer, how other dogs are using their product, learning about what they're doing in their community, what they're doing for dogs. And that's just one example. People are doing this for all sorts of products and services. So they go there to follow you. And if they don't feel like you're providing enough information, they're going to unfollow you and go to your competitor. And that goes to my next point. 45% of consumers will unfollow a brand on social media if their content is irrelevant. So if they feel like what you're posting, what you're sharing, what products you offer don't cater to them, or they feel like they don't care about the consumer base, then they're going to unfollow that brand. One of the things that Melanie and I have been talking about and actually doing ourselves a lot since the pandemic as well is using video. One of the ways you can do it is holding a Q&A live. We've done a lot of our webinars lately on Zoom and did a live broadcast to Facebook. You can also do it onto YouTube. We do a Instagram live every Tuesday as well, where we have a conversation about what's happening at BBB, if we're giving any webinars, if there's a current scam going on that we want to warn people about, give them tips on how to prevent themselves from falling for it. It's a quick, easy way for us to get our faces out there, talk about our brand, and get people engaged with us, and give them the opportunity to ask questions if they have any too. It allows you to be authentic. People see that real side of you, that personal side of you, versus just looking, like I said, at text on your page. They don't want to see just a quick message. They want to see you and what your brand stands for. You can save these videos then as well, cut them up, and then use them for future posts. So you can repurpose all of that information that you recorded, share it down the line, and that saves you time and money. Some tips for if you do decide to do video or go live, watch your lighting. Melanie and I invested, once we started working from home, we invested, oh, it's stuck now, in ring lights so that if need be, if there's a shadow, I know for me, sometimes the natural lighting really works in the room I'm in right now. Sometimes the shadow, based on where the sun is, makes my face look a little dark and blocked out. So these ring lights have been a huge help for us to just bring that extra light to our faces. Surrounding sound, make sure you're turning off if you have a phone that rings, especially if it's a landline, trying to figure out how to turn that down. Maybe talk to, if you have neighbors that are mowing their lawn, say, hey, I'm going to be going live at this time. I have a window right here by your yard. Do you have any plans at that time? Just thinking ahead so that hopefully you don't have that external noise impacting your video. Again, silence your phone. I just mentioned that one. So make sure you're really planning ahead so you can have the best video possible. Encourage fans to tag you in their videos as well. So if they're sharing any videos of them using your product or wearing your product, or if you did something for their house and they're showing a video of the paint job, or in Melanie's case, she just got her house sided. And if she shared a video of her new siding or a before and after, encourage them to tag your business so that you get that free publicity. If you're on TikTok as well, make sure your videos are public and encourage fans to duet them or to stitch them so that they can show your brand in your video as it ties in with their video as well. How does video help? 54% of consumers want to see video content from a brand they support. That's more than half. We process visual content 60,000 times faster than written content, and we can remember that content longer. Video inspires empathy and emotions. So like I said before, it's giving them that personal, authentic relation to that business versus just seeing a quick update about them and almost having it be a more robotic post. 92% of consumers on mobile will share videos with others. They're more quickly to hit that share button if a video, especially if it impacted their emotions. They're going to share that, and that's free publicity for your brand. I can't say that enough. And videos drive the most ad clicks on Facebook specifically.
I wanted to jump in and just say,
Mhm.
these don't have to be professional videos.
Mm-mm.
Um,
We do
I
ours from our
feel,
phone.
yeah, I feel I engage more with videos where people are just, Lauren talked about being authentic, where people are just talking about their experience with a product or a service, or they're just talking about a book they read, things like that. That's why we do what we do. We have our conversations every Tuesday on Instagram. And I was out to dinner with some girlfriends last night, and my one friend's like, I've never watched this before. She goes, I really, really liked it. She goes, you guys were just talking, and it was a way where I could understand what you were saying. And now I'm going to be looking out for this scam and that scam. And it was cool. So I was like, okay, we're getting through to people, and it doesn't take anything except, a tripod and hitting that go live button. It's fun fact, I had to get anti-reflective glasses because you could see the rings in my glasses. So, make sure when you do the ring light up, I have to angle it so it doesn't show, but it does help with the lighting a lot. So anyway, go back to what you were saying.
Oh, you're
Just a
right. You
couple
brought up
of
a good
things here.
point too with the tripod. We got these when we started working from home too, and they weren't much money at all. It's quick, easy. It even came with a remote, but I lost my remote.
Mine's
But that
dead.
way you can you can click a button so that it even starts your camera for you, or it starts your video for you, so you don't have to lean forward and press the button and be right in the camera. So they're not that expensive whatsoever, and it's just a quick way to help you with those live videos as well, or even just recording a video that you're going to create something with down the line. With our live videos too that we do on Tuesdays, that sends a notification to all of our followers when we go live. It says BBB of Upstate New York is live now. So even if the person doesn't view that video or they're not watching us, our brand still got out to them just because we went live. They saw our name pop up across their screen. So free publicity, like I said, once again, getting your brand out there. A few more social media ideas for you. Tell people how you're giving back to your community. That could be that make or break point of if they're torn between two great businesses that they want to work with, that they want to use for whatever their project may be or whatever they're looking for. They might see, okay, they offer the same sort of products, their prices are about the same, but this one is really giving back to the community. I see what they're doing. They care about the people who live here, they care about their consumers. I'm going to give my money to them because I know it's going to go back and help in this sort of manner. So let people know what you're doing. If you're collecting money for an organization, if you donate any of your products or goods, if you have a day where you have all your employees volunteer out in the community, whatever it is, let people know you're giving back. Hold a contest. We did a few with BBB during the pandemic, asking people to let us know how they're using their accredited business seal, or we did one for giving back in the community. Having that contest, it could be a quick, easy way. And we did one just for consumers too. We had a basket of BBB supplies that they could win, and we had an Amazon gift card because Amazon is an accredited business. We had a contest. It got us followers. It had a lot of people engaging with that post. We had them share it to their story for extra entries into the contest. Them sharing it to their story introduced our brand to all of their followers. Again, free publicity. I can't say that enough. So that contest could be a quick, easy way to get your brand out there and get you some more engagement and followers. Make sure if you do hold a contest, though, there are certain rules that you need to follow based on each platform, such as stating that they do not have any involvement with the contest, that it's something that you yourself are doing. Let them know the specific rules that they need to follow in order to be entered into the contest, and then what the deadline is and when you'll announce the winner. Do employee features. This has been a big one for us this past year. I asked Melanie, I said, hey, do you think it's okay, as long as it's okay with our employees? Obviously ask for their permission first before you post them to a page. And I said, do you think we can highlight our anniversaries, our work anniversaries? people love seeing our employees. We've gotten so much engagement on those posts because people just want to celebrate those anniversaries and be part of that. One of our posts recently, actually, it might have been yours, Melanie, was one of the top ones that we had for that month as well. Like I said, people love celebrating other people. So that was a quick way people were saying congratulations. They were liking the post, they were sharing it, saying, oh, I love working with this person. So that got us such great numbers for just sharing congratulations on 5 years.
Yeah, it was funny. My mother-in-law got a hold of it, and then all of a sudden, everybody else was sharing it and liking it. So I'm like, hey, that works for me.
And it's a happy post too. Behind the scenes, do a little background on what it is you do. If you make something, how do you make it? What steps do you take? People love seeing the step-by-step process. Or if you make food, how are you making that food? On TikTok, for example, I've seen a lot of people share recipes, and you can do that video and show the professional version of it versus the amateur version of it. There's a lot of fun things that you can do for behind the scenes. Industry tips, like I said, Melanie and we do that Instagram live on Tuesdays, but we also share a Tip Tuesday video with insights based on what we've found here at BBB, based on scams, or if you're looking for a certain service to come to work with, or just basically any sort of tip relating to a certain period of time. If you're planning a wedding, we have all those tips so we can share our insight with consumers to help them make better educated decisions. You can do polls and surveys. Like I said, a great way for you to figure out what exactly your clients or your consumers are looking for from your business. That way you can better tailor your posts on social media to focus more on what they're interested in, so you hopefully don't lose them as a follower. Memes, GIFs, and quotes are all fun things to do too, and make sure that they correlate though with what you're doing or what's going on with the world. Like Melanie said with the emails, you want to make sure you're not going tone deaf to anything that's going on. Infographics, that's a great way for you to share. We had a few infographics on COVID studies that we were doing throughout the pandemic, especially relating to small businesses. So it kind of gave a better eye into what small businesses were looking for and maybe struggling with during the pandemic, or what even consumers were looking for in those businesses. And user-generated content. So that's, for example, going back to my one video tip earlier, if someone, going back to Melanie, actually, Melanie got her siding done. Say Melanie shared a video of her with the siding. You can say, hey, I love that video. Do you think we can share that to our page? Then you didn't have to create anything. They send you the video, and then you can share that to your page. They're excited that their video's on there, so they're going to share that. And it gives that more, it's like that review. It gives you that human, real consumer vibe to it versus just a salesperson trying to pitch their product or service to you. 49% of people are saying that user-generated content on social media significantly impacts their purchasing decisions because they're seeing those real people, those real experiences versus just a post of the picture or product. I see, Melanie, you unmuted. Is there something you wanted to say?
I'm excited. We're going to have some user-generated content next month with our accredited businesses. This is something Lauren and I have talked about a lot, is like putting them in the spotlight more so than, hey, here's our Torch Award winners. So we asked our businesses to tell us their pandemic stories. How did they pivot? How did they survive? And we had some significant entries, and we're really excited. We're going to start featuring them probably in the next couple of weeks. So we are absolutely doing the user-generated content to get people to talk about, even talk about their accreditation. We have a video series up on our website right now with some of our accredited businesses talking about why their accreditation is so important to them. And it's other people telling our story for us, and we love it. And it doesn't cost you anything. And one of the best examples I can think of is my gym. Anytime somebody posts something, they share it. So of course, people are going to be more likely to post their user-generated content, and then that brand is going to use it, and the person's going to see it, and they're going to keep doing it. So just think about that. Like, think about, you have one awesome customer, they're going to keep doing it. It's going to be great, and they're going to get that to all of their followers as well.
A few more social media reminders and ideas for you. On most social media sites, they have some sort of header photo. So at the top of your Facebook, there's a banner on the top of your Twitter. LinkedIn has one as well. You can promote any information you want to in that header. So for our BBB, there were times for webinars. I would share information about the webinar. And then there's usually a button on a few of those sites where you can say register here. I had an arrow pointing to that button so people knew exactly where to register if they were interested. We have a torch award for ethics that businesses and charities can apply for. So when it was torch award season, I had a banner just talking about that, and then with an arrow saying apply here. There's so much you can do in that, or if you have a sale going on, you can have that right in that header. It's the first thing people are going to see when they log on to your profile. You can pin important posts as well to the top of your profile. So say we shared something about that social media contest. I could have the information right on our page. I posted it, we'll say April 1st, and I could have pinned that post. So even if it was April 30th, if people came to our page, that pinned post was the first one that they were going to see, so that they would know this contest is still going on until this date. Here's all the information they need, because I wanted a lot of people to participate. Just make sure that for both the header photo and the pinned post, that if it's something that's no longer relevant, that you unpin that post so that it's no longer the first thing they see, because it's outdated information. Consumers don't want to see the outdated information. They want to see the updates. Pay attention to the times that your audience is paying attention. There's a lot of different analytics that you can use, or insights, some of the social media apps call it as well. Click on that and see when your followers are paying attention to what you're posting. You might think, oh, I'm going to post something at 9 o'clock in the morning because that's when we open. I want people to see that we're open and ready for the day. But your clients might not actually be looking until maybe the lunch hour. So maybe you'll want to post your post instead of at 9 a.m. at, say, noon, because they'll be on at that time, and that's when they're looking at your Instagram or your Facebook or Twitter. Use hashtags if you know what they're for. Our BBB, we have hashtag start with trust, because we want people to remember it, to come with us if they want to start their project or go to someone that they can trust. That's our number one value. It's our number one standard, is trust. So find a hashtag that works for you, that works for your business, and don't just jump on a hashtag because it's popular. Make sure it still aligns with your values as a business. Look at what your competitors are doing, what works for them, what isn't working for them. Did you see that they just got a ton of followers to their account, or maybe they're leading you by a lot? Figure out what it is that they're doing, what's catching the customer's eyes, and then take some of that material and apply it to you. Obviously tweak it so you're not completely stealing their thoughts and ideas, but find ways to tailor that into what you do as a business. Create a calendar to help you keep up as well. We have one in our office. I have it online on a scheduling app, but then I also usually keep a record in Excel or handwritten on paper, just so I know when the pandemic hit, for example, we needed to change our social media posts. I had them ready to go for the month, but I was like, okay, I should probably take this one down, save them for another time, because they just don't work with what we're experiencing right now with the pandemic.
I
Melanie,
actually watched your head explode when that happened.
My whole plan was
laugh at it
shattered,
now,
but that's
but
okay.
yeah, it was one of those things where I'm like, we need to shut down this, and I'm like, and Lauren, you're gonna have to redo all of your social media.
But that's what the calendars are for. Or if you know that you want to share something on a certain day, or you see that you are a dentist office and it's National Dentist Appreciation Day on this day, maybe you want to know, oh, I'm going to share something that day because that's what we do. Or Administrative Professionals Day was just on Wednesday. So leaving an employee appreciation post for your administrative professional. So having those noted down is very helpful too. Do an annual social media audit. That it's not as hard as it sounds. It basically just lets you know, okay, these were the posts that worked this year. These were the posts that didn't work this year. I'm going to fix this, tweak this message so that it hopefully will get more attention I actually do it monthly for us, month by month, so that if we need to switch anything, because especially with COVID, things have been changing so much, especially with businesses, that we've been tailoring our messages to that every month. But something you can do just once a year. And then C2, I maybe should be posting at this time, like I said, with the time frames that they're paying more attention to here, even though the year before they were paying more attention at this time. So it's that good comparison of these are the things that are going well, these are the things that we should fix moving forward. And like Melanie and I have said a million times already, make sure you're responding. That engagement with the consumers, even if it's just that quick thank you, or if it's a negative review, responding to it and saying, thank you for your message. I would love to talk to you about this issue further. If you can give me a call here. Seeing that response, people are going to see, oh, there's really someone behind this profile that cares, and they care about their consumers. They care about what's being said about them, and they want to have that positive reputation. So that response is just a huge extra step into having that positive reputation with clientele.
Yeah, just a couple more things as we wrap up. You want to stay informed, but you want to make sure you're using legitimate sources to stay informed. I can't tell you how many times I've seen just random stuff. You want to make sure you're following the Federal Trade Commission, the CDC, local county health departments, Empire State Development, and the U.S. Small Business Administration directly. Don't just rely on news stories. Make sure you're going to these sources. As the pandemic winds down, but you never know what could happen. So you want to make sure you're consulting all of these sources, especially the SBA, because the programs change so much. I know the restaurant program just launched this week. So you want to make sure you're keeping up to date with all of that. You want to refrain from doing anything that makes it look like your business is taking advantage of the pandemic. You don't want to make any inflammatory comments. I always bring this up. So I am me, but to the world, I'm Melanie McGovern, spokesperson for the Better Business Bureau. So I have to be really careful about what I post on social media. I don't make inflammatory comments. I don't get involved in controversial topics because I am always reflecting this business, whether I like it or not. So if you are like an owner of a business, if you're the face of that business, you have to remember those types of things before you go out there and start with your keyboard muscles saying things about the world in which we live. Be careful. Again, I always tell students when I used to teach, would you call your grandmother and tell her that? If not, don't post it. And then just, really promoting honesty. We talked about honesty and trust so much today. Advertise your company's service and make sure you're telling people you're following health protocols. And for the 20th time, the siding folks, they came with their masks on, but when they were outside working, they didn't have them on, which was fine. But every time he came to my door, he put that mask on. They were following public health protocols. They called me to make sure that they were, and I just loved that. It was fantastic. So, again, you just want to make sure that you're letting people know what you're doing while you're out there. And with that, a lot of great business tips at bbb.org/smallbusiness. Be More at Upstate NYBBB goes directly to me. So if you have any questions or if there's something you want to discuss further, I can connect you to Lauren. We do have a question. Is it appropriate to ask someone to remove, edit their review if it is in fact not relevant to your company? You can respond to them and say, I don't think this is, I don't think this was an experience you had with me. Let's talk about it. So you're being transparent. So it's not just sitting there like that beacon of, oh my God, what happened? You want to make sure you're responding, and then get that person to respond if it comes to the point where you guys are like, okay, the review was wrong, have the person write that response, but leave that original review up unless it's completely inflammatory. Then you can flag it and report it to the platforms. Lauren, I don't know if you have anything to add to that, but you don't want to fight it out per se, but you want to take it offline. You want to say, hey, why don't you give me a call and we can talk about this? And then you can go back and say, I spoke to the customer and everything is all set. If anybody needs more information, go to our website.
No, I think I agree with what you said. Just try and get them to contact you and maybe discuss what the issue was, have that conversation. And then, like Melanie said, you can go back and sum up the resolution, if you will, in that comment as well. So if people see it was a negative review, they can at least see, oh, they worked to a resolution and they saw that in the reply. So that's another reason why replying is so important, especially to a negative review.
Yeah, I can't
'Cause
think
it
of
could
what the
change the
statistic
story.
is. Yeah, I can't think of what the statistic is, but people are looking for the response more than they're looking at the review. They want to see how the company reacts. And this is what we tell our businesses all the time. A complaint is not necessarily a negative thing to your business. It's an opportunity for your business to show their customer service skills, how they take care of people, how they react. It's a really good way for people to see, okay, so this person had a problem. The company came back and said, I'm going to do this, this, and that for you. I'm really, really sorry. That's what people are looking for. They want to know if something should go wrong, that company's going to step in and try to make it right. Is there any other questions? We got to thank you. There she is.
Hello, ladies. This was great information. I even found myself jotting down some notes on different tips and also some different topics that I think we can take a deeper dive into.
Yeah.
Topics that you guys discussed. So thank you so much. We're gonna pop back in. We've got about a little under 10 minutes, about 8 minutes left in the session. I extended it a little bit. So when we come back into the main room, if you have any questions, you can pop over. I know Melanie has to jump.
I do have to leave. I apologize to everybody, but we're actually working on rebuilding BBB.org, and I'm part of that team, so I have to go to that meeting right now.
Thank you.
I'd be happy to
Yeah, Lauren will
answer
hang
any
around.
questions.
All right, great. Thank you guys. Take care.